Welcome to episode 102 of Drew's Sports Crew here on this Monday night. Myself, Drew Skyberg, bringing you the news in the sports world. And look, the NBA All-Star game has come and gone. All-Star weekend itself has come and gone. And then we also had, of course, we had the brackets unveiled on the high school side. We'll talk about it for boys on that. And we talked girls last week on the brackets, but look, the computer did it again for boys. And personally, I don't think divisions we'll be talking about mostly 3 and 4 were bad at all. But there's a lot of people upset with Division 1, how that turned about, and just some other concerns and flaws, right, with what we've seen so far from the online or the computer generated, right, seedings. So we'll talk about that, later. We first want to talk still about the high school sports and then go to Bucks. But some announcements here to start. As always, again, at Drew Sports Crew, Instagram, Twitter, and then on TikTok. Right on TikTok, you'll see I got power rankings and for NBA, and then we have Team of the Weeks, parlays, all that good stuff. I get them up on the Instagram, Twitter, YouTube as well. But you can go check out all that content on there. And then at Drew Sports Crew, if you are interested for some fantasy baseball, contact on Instagram or contact me personally. Get that done. Fantasy baseball, again, that's open. So go check that out. Really exciting stuff. Looking to expand the league to 12 teams this year. It was a 10-team league. So far, we got a couple people interested to join the league. And, of course, people who did it last year are joining as well. So keep that in mind. And, yeah, with that here, we'll get started in the episode's main announcements. Journey Million tomorrow, roughly 4 o'clock, 4:05-ish on that. And, again, at J2M Football, right, we got football content coming out on that. And Zach's got some power rankings out. You'll see some drafts that I've done. You'll see some drafts Jared's done as well. So go check all that out on, again, at J2M Football for that TikTok. So there's your announcements. We'll get started right away here. So going on the side of boys basketball, we'll start with. So there's a big surprise tonight. There's a lot of good games tonight too. I should highlight. So we still had some conference games last Saturday on the boys' side. But I'll go through standings right now. So I'll kind of get into it, right? But conference, right? We saw Brilliant lock up the conference. They're 13-0 in conference. And then they're 22-1 overall. We'll talk about that game against Mosinee tonight. It took place. A 1-point loss there for the Lions. Kiel, they're on a 2-game losing streak here. They're 19-4 overall, 10-3 in conference. They lose to Chilton. We'll talk about that game. What a win for the Tigers. Valdor's 2-game win streak here. I see they lost to Denmark. So, but right now I got 9-4 in conference, 15-7 overall. Roncalli 6-7 in conference, 8-15 overall. Chilton 5-8 in conference, 9-13 overall. Two Rivers 5-8 in conference as well, 9-14 overall. New Holstein 2-11 in conference, 3-20 overall. And Sheboygan Falls 2-11 in conference and 2-19 overall. Your leader in scoring, Jeremy Lorenz, 21.6 a game. In second, Pierce Arns 19 a game. Cole Hovey 18.8. Max Miller 16.7. Brady Richards 14.3. Grant Munns 12.6 a game for him. Jeremy Lorenz 11.7 rebounds a game. Cole Hovey 8 rebounds a game. Assists per game, Parker Brown of Brilliant 6.5 assists per game. And then Pierce Arns in second, 5 assists per game. Wolf Earbringer brings it at, no pun intended, 4.7 assists per game there at that 3 spot. Anyways, going through that scoring, what we saw this past week, we had some conference actions Friday. So I'll start there. Kiel and Chilton square off. That's at Chilton High School. And Kiel jumps out 33-26 lead at half. But guess what? Here come the Chilton Tigers. Put together one of their best scoring halves of the season. 45 points they score to Kiel's 34. They get the job done. Everyone was talking about it. 71-67 was that. I got some scoring for Chilton. I don't have any stats for Kiel, unfortunately. I can tell you, Max Miller, 28 points, 9 for 18 from the field, 4 for 12 from 3, and 6 for 8 from the line. Nice game for him. Also, Wolf Earbringer, very underrated. We've been talking about him. 18 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, 1 block there. So they accounted those two right there. That's 46 of your points. Then we also, we had Warren Wilcox at chipping 9, Ryan Bjarke 8. Nice win for the Tigers, really is. This is something, right? This team's been looking for all year, and they got it, right? They're 9-13 overall, but they've put together. We've talked about this team being underrated, put together some nice games. Finally, all comes together in that second half against Kiel, and look what happens when it comes together. What a win for the Tigers. Otherwise, games were as expected. We had a good one, though, in Two Rivers. We did. And that game was on Friday. It was 61-59. That one, Two Rivers got the job done. So that was like another one. Right? Warren Gallagher with 18. Brady Richards with 15. For Two Rivers. Sheboygan Falls, it was Dane Nikolai with 17. And Ethan Verhulst with 16. Otherwise, let's get to those the Monday games here that took place tonight. Recording after those, we had Denmark and Valders. Denmark gets the job done 58-53. That game was at Valders, keep in mind. Saw that. Mosinee and Brillion. This game was interesting. 54-53. No stats on that one yet. Again, recent that just took place. Brillion got handed their first loss. I can tell you, going back the last few minutes of the game, it's really back and forth there. Brilliant had a lead in that half, but just coming through, that was like a 9-point lead at some points. But Mosinee just chipped away, made it, got it close. They go get a nice go-ahead layup then to go up by 1. Brilliant gets last second shot, corner 3, gets blocked, rebound, and then time expires. Again, Brilliant loses their first game of the year, but they lose this game. It's the first game actually after seedings take place. So, for Brilliant, this game, you want to win the games, right? But really, in the grand scheme of things, this game didn't mean much. Reedsville puts together, another underrated team. Reedsville wins 65-56. We got stats already in for Reedsville too. Wow. But this team again, D5, going to be underrated. A lot of Duraceks. Camden Duracek here with 25 points. 25 points, 20 rebounds. Sorry for raising my voice there, but wow. Again, Reedsville in D5 there, putting together a really nice season, 17-6 there for Reedsville. So, some of those other games, Utzberg only beats Sheboygan Falls by 10. We'll talk about why that matters here shortly. Random Lake beats Two Rivers by 17. So we have some conference games here Thursday. And then we have a non-con Saturday, and then we get into the dance next Tuesday. Thursday, last set of conference games. Brilliant goes to New Holstein. Collie goes to Kiel. Two Rivers goes to Chilton. Valders to Sheboygan Falls. I think all these games are probably going to get a lot of hand potentially. Not sure what your closest will be here. Maybe Valders, Sheboygan Falls. But we'll have to wait and see on that. But let's talk playoffs now. Let's talk what's going on. That big dance I was talking about. Those games Tuesday already next week. Girls already taking place tomorrow night. So we'll talk more about those here as well. So we're going to go over there on the brackets. We're going to start in D4, right? We're going to go to the top right. And sectional 4, it's where we're actually going to find number 1 Howard's Grove, who's put together a phenomenal year. And in that, we actually find New Holstein in Division 4. They are the 13. New Holstein's going to play the number 4 Valders. Yeah, New Holstein Valders is going to play for a third time. That game's going to be in Valders. And if Valders wins, they'll be facing, looks like Sheboygan Lutheran. So it's going to be Sheboygan Lutheran Valders most likely. Cedar Grove Belgium can pull off a win. Otherwise, Mansbrook Lutheran's the 8 in that region over there. But we go down. We have to go down to the bottom there, and we'll see. So in the same section, right? We'll see Roncalli there. They're the 11. They got to play Ozaki the 6. And then winner plays Kohler the 3. So really in this one, those Division 4 teams we mentioned, Valders, New Holstein, Roncalli here now, all grouped together there nicely. But otherwise, like we saw like Mishikot get thrown in different, right? Their grouping was different. So they're in D4 as well, but they're like with St. Mary Catholic, Okanto, Shiocton, Kiwani. So that's also in Division 4, but different section. So keep that in mind. So we're really focusing on Division 4. It's Valders, New Holstein, and then Roncalli on the bottom as the 11. So let's go to Division 3 though. In this one, we see Division 3 has got, right, in sectional 2, go over there. It's a tough sectional, right? It's Xavier got the 1. Xavier's back better than ever up there. But if we go to the bottom area, we'll see Brilliant get the 1 down there. So what that means for Brilliant is they're going to play the winner between Chilton and Denmark. And again, this Chilton team at the 9. So first up, I mean, this is really a really tough area. I mean, you certainly got to like for Brilliant's case, right? You know, how they've played against Kiel. Kiel got the 4. And what you got to like about that is if Kiel beats Kettle Moraine Lutheran, Brilliant's got to love their chances against Kiel. I know what we say about beating a team 3 times in 1 year. I get it, but got to love your chances for Brilliant. Regional finals, Saturday night at home against Kiel, team you've played well against all year. You got to like that for Brilliant. But what you don't like probably is that Denmark team beats Valders. Chilton beats Kiel. You know, and we can do that, you know, who beat who, but really here, you know, these games were just this last week. You know, this isn't like earlier in the season. So they play the winner of that game. That game's at Denmark next Tuesday. So, you know, we saw Brilliant last year, you know, have a tough game against Utzberg to start, which Utzberg now is the 3. But we just talked about with Utzberg, why that's interesting is Utzberg just played a really close game. Again, that really close game they played was, I mentioned, with Sheboygan Falls, I believe. Yeah, it was a 10-point game. And maybe it wasn't that close. I mean, yeah, it's still a double-digit win, but, you know, Sheboygan Falls has not played well this year, so something to keep in mind. But, yeah, they're the 3. Southern Door's the 2. But why that matters down there is Kewaskum and Two Rivers, winner of that game, plays number 2 Southern Door. That's where they ended up. Sheboygan Falls got the 12. They're going to play the 5 Kettle Moraine Lutheran. Winner plays Kiel. And then, yeah, I mentioned Chilton, where they ended up. You know, it's going to be interesting how that all turns out. Again, this was computer seeding. I don't know if I see really any issues at all with how this turned out. You know, but just noting where the teams are. Right, Brilliant won their Kiel of 4, so. You know, everything turns out we got a regional final matchup Saturday night in Brilliant between those 2 schools. That should be a good one. So keep that in mind. And we'll preview more of that next week on next week's episode 103 of the Sports Crew here. But I will go over to girls basketball, talk about what's going on there, because those games are tomorrow already. So it's flying by here. Conference slate's done, right? It's done. So I can tell you, we can lock in those conference standings. I can say who finished where. Brilliant goes undefeated in conference, 14-0. New Holstein second, 9-5. Sheboygan Falls, they sneak in. They win 4 games in a row. They go 8-6. Good for them. Kiel then ties them there, 8-6 in conference as well. Then we have Valders and Chilton both 7-7. And then we have Roncalli 2-12, Two Rivers 1-13. So conference ended up turning out pretty interesting. Like a lot of teams in the middle, right? I mean, like when we talk about 7-7, you know, there's 4 teams a game apart of each other, essentially. Which in conference, you know, you don't see a lot, like in those records there. But we'll talk stat leaders here. We'll talk more overall records when we go right through the playoffs. So Allison Kakis is your scoring leader for the regular season, 22.9 a game. Grace Shizzle in second, 21.7. Emma Edelman. In third, 16.7, Addison Schwele. In fourth, 16.4, Megan Schumann. In fifth, 16. Then for rebounds, Allison Kakis, 12.5. Addison Schwele, 12.1. Peyton Grenzer, 11.9. Assists per game, Alyssa Wolfel, 4.5. Mackenzie Schrader, 4.4. And then Allison Kakis, 4.3. So those are your standings for the regular season. Look at that. Time's flying by, but we do have those playoffs to talk about. We have those Tuesday games. So we have 6 teams in the EWC. So we have 6 of them playing on that Tuesday. And on that, we have, right, it's Campbellsport and Kiel. I mean, actually, we have 7 teams. Burlington's the only team we got to buy. Let me clarify. We have 6 games total because Two Rivers and Sheboygan Falls are facing each other. So that's how that works. But Campbellsport's going to travel to Kiel. Two Rivers to Sheboygan Falls. Denmark to Chilton. So Chilton got a playoff game. Good for them. Then we have Roncalli traveling to Shiocton. We have Valders traveling to St. Mary Springs. Then we got New Holstein going to Manitowoc Lutheran. So that's going to be a tough one, you know. New Holstein ends up getting like 12. It's kind of tough with like the spot they got on that. Just kind of like how they performed this year, right? I mean, I'll pull the bracket up here. Talking about it, that team, you know, how like right 9-5 in conference. Oh, and then here it is. Okay, here's the bracket. It's loading a little. There we go. We're talking about it. Right, Division 4, how they did the assignments here, or I mean, it's the same here, but or it's not the same, pardon, but how it ended up turning out, right? Valders, I talked about, right? They're the 9, they're playing the 8 at St. Mary Springs. So you like their chances, but where they got thrown there is unlucky because they're going to play number 1 Laconia. You wanted them to get the 7 where Lutheran got. You play New Holstein got the 10. That still blows my mind. You know, New Holstein getting the 10 in girls basketball. I mean, this team again, 12-12. I get it. I get the value of non-con, but yeah, New Holstein at 10 playing Lutheran, and then the winner plays number 2 Randolph. I mean, it's a tough spot, it really is, for New Holstein. That was interesting how it got done for that area, at least. Right, that sectional 4 again for girls. But again, for Brilliant, we talked about where their spot is. They did get that bye, right? But they got the 3 spot. The 1 was Utsburg. The 2 was Kewaskum. So how that ends up working out, again, that they play the winner of Two Rivers, Sheboygan Falls. You like their chances there. Chilton got the 7. They're going to play the 10 Denmark. We talked about that game. But yeah, I mean, some good teams in that area, right? Utsburg's the 1 on the bottom, but yeah, Freedom's the 1 on top. I mean, very good sectional 2, Division 3 for girls basketball. That'll wrap up here the EWC talk on that. Again, special thanks to wisports.net on that. You can check them out for all your EWC scores and all your high school sports needs that you need. Yeah, you got wisports.net. Let's go talk the Milwaukee Bucks and the All-Star game. Should probably start with the All-Star game, honestly. Been posting a lot, the parlays, posting kind of my thoughts, my predictions on that. And the parlay hits. Yeah, the parlay for the All-Star game, 3 for 3. Was if Team Giannis scores first, they did. Giannis takes that dunk, checks himself out, right? And that was over under 92.5 on the total score for first quarter. We go under. It ends up being 92. So hits by a point. Then we take Team Giannis on the spread plus 2.5. Team Giannis wins outright. Doesn't matter. So talk about a good, nice parlay there I made on Fliff. I'm very pleased with that. But honestly, what were your thoughts on the All-Star weekend? The first thing that came to my mind was, so Friday, Friday celebrity game, sure, cool highlights after. Nobody's really watching that game, right? You're getting a lot of people are watching the highlights after or are seeing, what's being posted on social. Who had the cool dunks? Who had the cool plays? Um, but Saturday comes around, and we know how Saturday night goes. The skills competition. Personally, haven't been a fan of these last few years. I know they've redone it. I know they try to make it better. I don't know. No, not about it, but I do think then we get to the 3-point shootout. And you know what? I like the 3-point shootout. Don't change that. You keep that in the game. Really happy that's the case. But then the dunk contest. Talk about Mac McClung. Talk about giving that dunk contest like that extra life. Of course, the dunk contest was still a prominent event these last few years, but really, it needed some juice. It really did, and Mac McClung is that juice, right? I mean, what he was able to do, in that one Saturday night. I mean, I thought almost all of them should have been 50s. Really did. I was also a little upset about the judging. Was not pleased with how some of the inconsistencies, honestly, with judging, how it felt. But we go to Sunday then. I mean, the G League All-Star game's going on before 2:00, but the big event, it's interesting. The game, a lot of people coming out, Michael Malone, right, coach of the Nuggets, kind of saying like the game was just pointless, really. Was not a fan of it. And then all just players in general speaking out on it, with defense not being played, layup line, kind of things like that. And again, Malone wasn't really impressed with the players' effort. But again, it's tough, players don't want to get hurt. I hear the arguments, and he called it. I guess I should go off what Michael Malone really said. Right, it was the worst. Like what he officially said, it was like the worst basketball game ever played. So, it's tough. What does the NBA do? I mean, it's like the Pro Bowl games. Like, what do you do? I mean, baseball. Again, I know people give baseball right, a bad rep, but really, baseball's got the best midsummer class, right? The Midsummer Classic. I mean, baseball is the best All-Star game in its sport, and I don't think it's close. I really don't. I mean, NBA. I think the NBA skills part. Like, I think the All-Star game itself. Right? I'm talking about not talking about NBA All-Star Weekend. I'm talking about the All-Star game itself. NBA compared to MLB. I'm taking MLB 10 times out of 10. I think what MLB brings to the table for their All-Star game, just entertainment. I know NBA in its defense did the most, bringing Draymond on, bringing, TBS inside the NBA, different alternate broadcasts. Good for them, right? I mean, that's a start, but I don't know if an All-Star game is going to be the case. It's like the Pro Bowl game. I don't know if the NBA also, I don't know if they need a full game. I don't think they do. I don't know what they want to do. Of course, you could do like competitions. You could do some sort of tournament. Players don't want to get hurt, though. I mean, that's kind of the big thing. How do you do a game that is entertaining for the fans in the stands? Because it sounds like not a lot of fans were entertained yesterday. And then how do you also do a game, though, where there can be this level of entertainment, but yet the players can feel safe. They can feel, right, they're not going to put their bodies out. Tatum played, was it 39 minutes in an All-Star game? Granted, right, Joe Mazzulla was his coach, but really, I don't know. I think the NBA's got itself a problem for the All-Star game. I do. I think there's some parts that are just awesome, right? Honoring Kobe with the 24-point fourth quarter ending. That's awesome, right? There's still some cool parts of this game. Playing for charities, come on, doesn't get better than that. But I do think there's an aspect that needs, the draft or thoughts on the draft being done to start. I thought it was a nice touch. I thought it was dragged out a little too much, right? I mean, I really, really felt draft could have been a 30-minute thing. Those were kind of my big things. I thought the concerts were great, right? Good to have concerts in the game to keep people entertained, involved. Drew Holiday only played 9 minutes. I mean, come on. Like, I mean, Jaren Jackson played only 8 minutes. I just felt like really LeBron takes him. I mean, I hope LeBron's well. I don't know what's all going on with that. So, saying like LeBron takes himself out in the like a hand injury. It was on that block, I believe. Like, I mean, that's exactly what I'm talking about with players, not wanting to give it them all their all, right? I mean, you don't want to get hurt in a game like this. I totally get it. Sounds like LeBron will be okay though. And hopefully our thoughts are with him. Hopefully he's doing well. Yeah, it sounds like right. What we've heard, he'll be okay. But again, precautionary reasons probably as well. But All-Star game, those are kind of my big takeaways. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander said money talks, right? I mean, in this case for the All-Star game, probably would be a wise thing to incorporate in some way. I'm sure there already is, but to a greater extent. Still, I want to keep that charity aspect in these games, though. So important to highlight both of those. I don't know. I felt like Jokic too. Like he got 4 field goals attempts. Like it was like Jokic gets taken second last. I don't know. I didn't like the draft in that. Like really, your 2-time MVP, back-to-back MVP, might be a third straight, three-peat. Gets taken second last out of the starters. Really? I don't know. I think that's kind of my All-Star game rant. I watched it. I had the game on. I had most of this All-Star weekend on. But I think the best event, I think the dunk contest was the best thing I saw. Or Dame in the 3-point finals. I think that was cool too. But I think that's okay. One more thing. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown going back and forth on each other. That was good. I mean, that's stuff we need to see if we want to keep the All-Star game going. We need more of that, not more of no defense, layup line, because people were just taking layups at some points. I was like, really? So, not a fan of that. NBA needs to look at something, potentially make like a tournament of some sort, whether it's like 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3, something like that. Whether I don't know how players are going to get that competitive. There's been talks this like mid-season tournament that would include international teams on top of it. Not sure about that. I'd love to see some international competition. I'd love to see it year round, but just the logistics behind that and through a season, not sure. Okay, Bucks talk briefly here. So Giannis, we learned, right, it's going to be a sprained ligament in his right wrist, and it sounds like it's going to be day to day right now. Avoids major stuff, right? So that's what we wanted to hear. And he looked, I mean, in the All-Star game too, he was out. We saw him high-fiving everyone. Still played that first possession, scored, but intrigued to see what else is going on with that. So just another thing to keep in mind. But the Bucks, of course, 2 games I've already got my prediction challenge up. And that's on Instagram, TikTok, at Drew Sports Crew. I got Bucks winning both games this week. They got Miami and Phoenix. Don't know if Kevin Durant's going to go. They're going to be without Giannis, so I still have them winning both. People might not like that one, but I believe in this Milwaukee Bucks team. Hopefully, we can see Middleton. Like the big thing for me is Middleton's minutes restriction. Hopefully, it's up to 30 now. And this is kind of the break, Hopefully that's what happens again. We don't play till Friday, so we gotta wait until basketball still. Like a little bit more here. Baseball, spring break. What's going on? Spring training games are coming very, very soon. Really looking forward to that. Again, Friday, February 24th, 6:30 p.m. Central, Miami is who they play on ESPN. Sunday, February 26th at noon, Phoenix at home on ABC. So excited to see that. We'll see if Kevin Durant's playing Sunday. We'll wait and see about both those games. Hopefully 2 wins. But then you go to Brooklyn on Tuesday. So, and then, Orlando and then Philly. And that game's also on ABC. A lot of ABC I've mentioned. So keep that in mind. that's all I had here. And again, I went through those announcements. Again, Journey to Million will be live tomorrow, 4 o'clock. Go check that out. Keegan Zimmerman is the other story. Wednesday morning, an episode that will be live on all the platforms. Again, that's already up on YouTube if you want to see who Keegan Zimmerman is, a Division III athlete from the University of Dubuque, career high in threes. He shot 53% from three in 1 year, sophomore year of college. Seriously, go check it out. We talk about it. Great episode, great guest. Love what he's doing. And yeah, it's going to wrap it up here for myself, Drew Skyberg, on this Monday night here. Thank you all for listening to yet another episode of Drew Sports Crew, the perfect podcast for you.